In a quiet little town near the Rocky Mountains, there lived an old man named Thomas. His life was simple: a small wooden cabin, a few chickens, and one magnificent white horse that shimmered like moonlight. Everyone in town admired that horse. It was strong, graceful, and rare. Wealthy ranchers offered him thousands of dollars, but Thomas refused. "He's not for sale. He's my family." The townsfolk laughed behind his back, calling him foolish. But Thomas only smiled and said, "Money can buy comfort, not peace." One afternoon, a rich ranch owner arrived in a shiny black pickup truck. He stepped out, boots dusty, hat low, holding a thick envelope. "I'll give you $20,000 for that horse," he said. Thomas looked at the animal he'd raised since birth and gently shook his head. "You can't buy loyalty. He's more than money to me." The rancher laughed and drove away, leaving the villagers whispering. "He's crazy." That old man could have lived comfortably for years, but Thomas just brushed the horse's mane, whispering, "Peace is my wealth." The next morning, Thomas stepped out with a bucket of oats, but something was wrong. The stable door was open, swinging in the wind. The white horse was gone. His heart sank. He searched the woods, the trails, the valley, and nothing. Soon the villagers arrived. "Bad luck, Thomas. You should have sold it when you had the chance." Thomas didn't cry, didn't curse. He stood still and said softly, "Maybe it's bad. Maybe it's not. Who knows?" The villagers thought he was losing his mind. By noon, everyone in town was talking. At the diner, in the fields, in church, they all said the same thing. That poor old man. If only he had listened. But Thomas didn't argue. He kept to himself, working quietly, trusting something greater. Sometimes, he thought, we must lose what we love to understand what matters. At night, he sat under the stars, looking at the empty field where his horse used to run. A tear rolled down his cheek, yet peace stayed in his heart. 3 days later, before sunrise, a sound echoed through the valley. Hoofbeats. Thomas rushed outside. His white horse was back, but not alone. Behind it ran 3 wild horses, strong and free. Villagers gathered, stunned. Unbelievable. "You lost one and gained 4. Thomas smiled faintly. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. Life has its own way of balancing. The same people who called him foolish now called him lucky. But Thomas stayed calm, knowing life always swings between loss and gain. Thomas's young son, David, couldn't contain his excitement. "Dad, we can train them. These wild horses could change our life." Thomas nodded, cautious but hopeful. For days, David worked hard under the sun, patient, determined, trying to tame the wild ones. The villagers admired his courage, whispering, "Maybe luck has finally found them." Thomas watched from a distance, quietly praying. He knew life's blessings could test you just as much as its losses. One afternoon, while training a wild black horse, David lost control. The horse reared violently, throwing him off. He hit the ground hard. A crack echoed. Thomas ran to him, shouting his name. The doctor arrived quickly, his face serious. His legs broken. He won't walk for months. Thomas sat beside his unconscious son, holding his hand tightly. He whispered, "Maybe it's bad. Maybe it's not." That evening, the villagers gathered again. Such bad luck. First the horse ran away, then came back, and now your son's crippled. Thomas simply listened. His calm face confused them. "Why aren't you angry, old man?" someone asked. He smiled faintly. "Because I've learned. What seems like a curse may carry a hidden blessing." The villagers walked away, shaking their heads, unable to understand his peace. War has begun. Every young man must report for duty. Soldiers arrived the next morning, taking every healthy boy from the village. Mothers cried, fathers begged, but no one could stop it. Only David stayed behind, his broken leg saving him from the battlefield. Thomas watched silently as trucks drove away. Now they understand, he thought. Weeks passed. The village grew silent. News came. Many young men were lost at war. The same villagers returned to Thomas, tears in their eyes. "You were right. Your son's broken leg saved his life. We misjudged you." Thomas placed his hand on one man's shoulder. "Don't be sorry. We all judged too quickly. But life always knows what it's doing." That night, Thomas sat outside with a lantern. The stars sparkled like old memories. He thought about everything, and the horse, the pain, the war, the peace. Maybe life isn't about control, he whispered. Maybe it's about trust. He closed his eyes, feeling a strange warmth in his chest and the comfort of understanding. In the quiet night, Thomas remembered his late wife's words. When things go wrong, don't lose faith. Sometimes the hardest days prepare us for the best. Her voice echoed in his heart. He looked toward the barn where his son slept. You were right, my love, he whispered. Faith really is the bridge between pain and peace. Months passed. David began to walk again, slowly, using a cane, his horse walking beside him like a guardian. The villagers helped rebuild fences and barns destroyed by storms. Life began to bloom again, quietly, gently. Thomas watched the sunrise, smiling through wrinkles of wisdom. The pain was never wasted, he thought. Now, when villagers faced problems, they came to Thomas. Teach us how to stay calm like you. He'd smile and say, It's simple. Don't call something good or bad too soon. Just wait. They began to understand that life's meaning hides in patience. The same people who once mocked him now listened like students. Years went by. The war ended. Many never returned, but those who did carried scars. Thomas and David spent their days caring for horses and helping widowed families rebuild. The white horse, now older, still grazed peacefully near the river. Thomas often whispered, Everything I needed, life gave me, just not in the way I expected. One golden morning, Thomas stood watching his horse graze in the sunlight. The valley was calm, the air pure. People chase happiness, he said softly, but peace is what they truly seek. He realized that every loss, every tear, every heartbreak had led him to this very stillness. As years passed, people from nearby towns came to hear Thomas speak. He became known as the wise man of the valley. He'd tell them, life isn't a series of good or bad events. It's one continuous story written by a higher hand, and those who listened walked away lighter, hearts full of faith. In life, we all face loss. We all suffer pain. But if you look closely, you'll see nothing is wasted. Every heartbreak leads you closer to truth. What looks like a curse today may be the greatest blessing tomorrow. What hurts you now may protect you later. So when life breaks you, don't lose hope. Trust the timing. Trust the process. Because one day, like Thomas, you'll look back and whisper, it all happened for a reason.